Live from the Motor City, all the way to the Volunteer State. It's time for the Reckless Speculation Podcast, where we recklessly speculate the latest news in the world of sports. From college football to NASCAR, we've got you covered. And don't forget to stick around for the world-famous Bet Your Nuts, where we will give you your best bets to make the most money. Now sit back, grab your favorite drink of choice, and join Robbie Davis, Raj Mehta, Brandon Chain, and Tom Sloan. It's showtime.
Well, thank you all for being here. It is Thursday night, July the 27th. Whether you're watching us live, you're going to watch us in the future, thanks for tuning in. Tim's here with us, so thanks for being here. We got a good show today. A lot is actually going on in this kind of a dead period of what we call sports. So can't wait to get to all of that. Before we get there, I want to thank our sponsors, CW Construction, who build about anything you want, quality craftsmanship. Look at the products on your screen. They do anything from full builds, remodels, pools, fireplaces, whatever you want. The other one is Davis Kessler and Davis, personal injury attorneys, Tennessee and Georgia. Feel free to give us a call if you ever get injured. Hopefully you never need us, but sometimes you might, or a loved one might. Also, the kitten can get you out of jail. But without further ado, getting back into the show tonight, we have a great show, as I said, but a great show is nothing without a great cast. So the people of the show, you guys probably already know, but let's welcome them each and every time. Tom?
Good evening. Good evening. Rough night for me today. Went out prior to the show for dinner, and I had a nice cocktail, and it might have put me over a little bit. So ready to get this thing underway.
Get ready for some reckless speculation. Brandon?
Oh, absolutely.
Glad I made it on time, boys. It was cutting it close tonight.
Oh, you know what?
Daddy duties with cheerleading camp and the finale show. So it was, I was a little worried about making it on time.
If we had an edit function, and if we had that, I'd go back and I'd introduce Raj first because he's finally on time and I'm still introducing him last. It's the creature of habit to introduce him last because he's never on time. I wish I would have done that in reverse. Raj, welcome. Yay.
Welcome on time.
You should have put something in the chat being like, hey, I'm here on time tonight.
Oh, sorry. Wait, it's fucking Wednesday, right? I just
No, it's Thursday. It's Thursday.
He's been sitting there since Wednesday. He's been there since Wednesday waiting for the show to start.
I thought I was 24 hours late. I'm actually on time. I guess that's what it takes, dude.
We saw you in the notes. We saw you in the notes, so we knew you were here.
Raj, you just thought you were late from last week. Being like, are they ever going to start this show?
Yeah, seriously, dude. What's wrong with this guy? You can tell the world, too. We have a pre-show meeting on Monday, and I don't really keep up with the text. And I'm like, why am I?
This is the first time Ross made the show on time.
I made it on time. I'm the only one in the room. I'm like, why am I the only motherfucker here? And of course, then I looked and read the text thread, and we weren't meeting Monday. So
it's amazing how that works.
I'm surprised to see you guys here. Thought it would be just me.
Well, guys, good to see you guys again. Good to be with you guys. And unfortunately, we have to take this laughing intro into something very serious. As the whole world knows, at least the sports world knows, Bronny James, LeBron's oldest son, suffered a cardiac arrest. I don't personally want to get into medical things that I don't know anything about. I'm going to just talk about generalities because there's so much we don't know. We do know that he's out of the ICU. He appears to be stable, whatever that means. LeBron and his wife have issued a statement. They thank everyone for their thoughts and good wishes at this time. Raj, you have more contacts in LA than we do. Obviously, he's a freshman at USC. What were your thoughts when you heard this news? I mean, obviously we were all shocked, but what were your thoughts?
I mean, I just couldn't believe not again, as you kind of alluded towards last year on July 1st, 5-star freshman Vince Uwachukwu had suffered from cardiac arrest at USC. For those that don't know, just think in terms of arrest, that's basically it. Your heart halts, it stops, it's done. It could be for a moment, it could be a second, but it is absolutely life-threatening. 8 or 9 out of 10 people that are not in a hospital or near medical attention die. USC leaves for Greece next week, and God forbid it would have been a week later.
That's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's the USC staff had experience, and it's like a fingerprint. No two are alike. But that experience from Vince helped in Bronny. And, he was fortunately out of the ICU within 24 hours, and he's home resting. And we know that he is going to have literally the best possible medical care on earth, because obviously budget, I mean, it shouldn't be for anybody, with children, but literally in this case, it wouldn't be. So it was just shocking. And for those that think, well, USC is doing something wrong, I mean, by our basketball program's results, we know that, I'm just sorry, it's a bad joke, but no, it's you're essentially, if it didn't happen now, it's going to happen tomorrow.
We'll get to that. I want to hold off on the USC training program for a second. I just want to go around and see what people's thoughts were. Brandon, obviously you have Ohio roots, and while you're not the biggest NBA fan, you're a father, and so did this hit you? The news hit you harder as a sports fan or a father?
Probably more of a father for sure. That's just a scary, scary situation to be in. You have a kid that is, a prime athlete and top of his class. He's college athlete, physically fit, everything's great. And then something like this happens. It's completely unexpected, out of left field. That's on the sports side. And then you look at it as a father, it's completely blindsided. Like you always expect to outlive your kids and then never see anything like this happen. Especially at that age. What is he, 19?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's just, so sad that happened. Glad he's in recovery and doing well, but I'm very anxious to see what comes out and what the study is on how this happened.
Yeah. So Tom, and I want to ask you this question. So to me, and do you agree, or how you were feeling the moment? To me, when I heard this news, I was floored. That is, because this isn't a 5-star athlete who came up and your yearly physicals missed it. This is a 5-star athlete who his dad is the most controlled body person maybe we've ever seen in sports. Mm-hmm. So he had access to all of these sleep chambers, all of these metrics to figure out. I don't know how this was missed. And so to me, that was just shocking. I mean, and preface it, I'm glad the kid's okay. Obviously, we're all glad the kid's okay, and we literally thoughts to the family. It's terrifying, but that, to me, that was what was shocking to me. What did you think?
Well, for me, it's you think of LeBron James. It's someone that's you would think is invincible, and you would feel like his son, who's been in the news the last 2 years, he's really built up a name for himself, not really riding the coattails of his father. So you don't really look at this as a situation where you would expect that to happen to that name. So I think that's the most shocking aspect of it. It brings this lifelike figure, we'll say, in LeBron James, and it makes him real. It brings him down to earth at a normal level. So it's shocking. And to think that it could happen to him and without even being noticed by any type of physical or anything. And that's the scary part. It just tells you that no one is immune to a situation happening, and God forbid it happened again to any other kid, regardless of who they are. So, but for me, it's the veracity of who it was that was the most shocking.
Tom, do you think Bronny plays for USC at all? Remember, for people who don't know, it's 1 year removed from college, you go to the NBA. So it's just this 1 year of college, all he has to play, he's eligible for the draft. Play or not play. Do you think he plays for USC this year?
If we wouldn't have experienced what DeMar Hamlin went through and he's coming back to play, I would have said no. But I think since DeMar Hamlin's situation, there is a chance. So I think he does play. I don't know about this year, but I think he does play at some point.
Okay, quick follow-up. Would you play, yes or no?
Oh, me? No, because if I'm Bronny James, I've already got millions and millions of dollars coming to me. So, but no, I mean, it would take a whole lot. It would take a lot, several opinions for me to want to play again. That's really
Brandon, do you think what happens next? Does Bronny play for USC?
Depends on the NIL structure, I think.
I mean, money's not a thing to them.
It's not, but having your own outside of your parents says something. So I think that has a little bit of play with it.
Okay, would you play if you were him?
Depends on the NIL structure.
Raj, and we laugh. This isn't laughing matter. But Raj, does Bronny play for USC?
Well, let me first say Hamlin was back practicing in a very difficult sport 5 months after the injury. With Vince, he went down July 1st. He played in his first game January 12th. With Bronny, it's up to him. He, again, is going to have the best care there is. If he doesn't play, does he go to the NBA draft and there's that element of mystique and get picked high? Perhaps, but the expectations will be extremely high. And for many of those that have watched Bronny play basketball, he is a skilled basketball player. He is going to be trying to living up to an incomparable individual in his father. He is more of a 4-star than a 5-star. If for those of us, I think most people agree that have watched his game. He's going to have the weight of the world on him. And if it doesn't go right in the NBA, which I don't think it will, the rest of his life, he'll be that guy. The flip side would be, it's very difficult to come out and prove yourself in X amount of months. Now, Vince is coming back for his sophomore year. Does Bronny do that? Or is this kind of a reason why, hey, he can come back for his sophomore year? He missed half. You know what I mean? Like, it was a good, like, he's not good enough if he doesn't go straight to the NBA. But overall, he's a competitor. And I think he would want to play. Now, if he didn't want to deal with all the bullshit and having to live up to his dad expectations, if that's a thing, then this is your out. I mean, this is a way to stop playing basketball. A lot of kids, Snoop's son was a hell of a football player. He was a 4-star. He stopped to be a mogul and entertainment entrepreneur. Not the same in terms of comparison, actually, oddly enough, different. But my point is, he can pivot all sorts of directions. And I think he plays at USC or he doesn't play at all.
Yeah. Tim just made a great point on something that Brandon said. it's important to have your own money. And Tim, I don't know if y'all saw this comment. Tim just said, LeBron, yes, as a parent, give him an insane amount of money not to play. Make sure he's set for life because he's worried about his health more than basketball. That's a valid point. LeBron,
I think he has that no matter what, dude.
That's what I'm saying. Like
generations of that family are set up for life.
Yeah,
I know, but I mean, LeBron can say, "I don't want you to play because I'm worried about your health,"
and he can say, "I want to."
Yeah, but you look at
Bronny,
and like he's got to make his own way. That's the thing. Like, I think that's the deciding factor here, and I would hope that he wants to stay and get that experience.
I think what Tim's going at is it's almost like a coach in football taking the helmet away. Hey, I got to save you from yourself.
Oh, trust me. I mean, if I was in that position, I'd pull the cord as well. But looking at it from Bronny's perspective, and a child with that much potential, you want to make like a splash. You're not going to live up to your dad per se. Maybe you will, but I mean that's a tall mountain.
But I feel like Bronny's kind of done his own thing. He's kind of made a name for himself. He's tried to avoid being LeBron James's son.
Right.
He doesn't really talk a whole lot. You don't hear him talking much, and you got to respect a kid for that fact that he's out there working hard. He's hustling. He's not trying to just sit back and get somewhere because of who his dad is.
Raj, wait. Sorry, guys. Raj, I'm gonna ask you the toughest question I'm gonna ask you this last year. I want you to be brief. Does USC have somewhat of a training problem? This is 2 years in a row the same thing has happened. Are there whispers in the USC program that something may be going on?
No, it wasn't inevitable, and I'm going to say quickly.
In both cases in 2 years?
Well, this is a common problem, and as many know, young black men can be genetically predisposed to basically cardiac arrest, and it's something called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. And basically, I can go into the details of what each word means in Latin, but it's essentially a thickening of the heart muscle, and that restricts blood flow to the heart and can cause, also, like through arrhythmias, the heart can stop. And it is more prevalent in young black males. From 1999 to 2012, there was a decrease in these instances. From 2012 to 2018, deaths among black males under the age of 35 were up. I wrote it down, 35%. And they don't know why. For any parent, it's most important to have an emergency action plan. Anything in any sport. It's not just your heart. If they're lightheaded, short of breathing,
I told you this is going to be my toughest question all night. Sorry to cut you off. We got time on it.
It's basketball too. It's anaerobic. It's the highest sport by far.
Yeah. All right. So we're talking about the James money to newly found Herbert money. So Herbert gets paid 5 years, $262.5 million, $133.7 guaranteed. If he gets injured, $193.7 guaranteed. So if he gets hurt, almost $200 million guaranteed. You hear these numbers. He is now the highest paid player in the NFL at $52.5 million a year. We got Lamar Jackson at $52 million and Hurts at $51 million a year. So my question is, Raj, I'll let you keep talking. Did the Chargers make the right call pulling this trigger with this amount of money?
Hell yeah, man. It's one after the other. And real quick, like just April 17th, Jalen Hurts signed, average annual value $51 million. 17 days later, Lamar Jackson signed, average annual value $52 million. About 80 days later, Herbert signs, and of course, he's got to have a little bit more because he's the next in line, $52.5 million. It follows suit. It's protocol. There's politics to this, one after the other after another, timing. This guy's about in the same league, but he's a little bit better. Case in point, Kyler Murray got $46.1 million, which at the time was more than Deshaun Watson's $46 million. So basically, the agents and everybody said, all right, he's better than this guy. Let's give him, X amount, and you got $0.1 million more.
All right, Brandon, of those three, Hurts, Herbert, and Jackson, who do you take? Who would you take if you start a franchise?
Oh man, that's tough. I'd probably take Hurts. I think it's a coin flip really between him and Lamar. Personally, I like Hurts. What he did in the Super Bowl last year was phenomenal. One of the best quarterback performances we've seen in the Super Bowl. So pretty good. I like Hurts.
So you'd have Herbert, the third of those three.
I would.
Okay.
Hurts is 2 years younger than them both, by the way.
Yeah. Tom, and then I'm going to circle back to the other two of you. Tom, where do you rank Herbert in your top 10?
I think he's probably
wait, hold on. I get the notepad out for this. I get the notepad and the pen. All right. Tom,
I would probably put him at 3.
All right. Number 1, Mahomes, obviously.
Mahomes and
Allen.
I like Joey
Burrow?
B. I think he's number 2.
Which is another interesting discussion after.
Yeah.
Barring a calf injury, but yeah, I think to build a franchise around.
All right,
yeah,
Mahomes,
and there's not much of a difference between 2 and 3, so not far.
Totally
not
agree.
far off.
Wait, who was your third?
Herbert.
Oh, okay.
Ahead of Josh Allen.
Then 4 was Allen.
4 would be Hurts. 4 would be Hurts. I'd go 5 Josh Allen, and then 5A Lamar.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. All right. So where's Aaron Rodgers fall? Who? All right. All right.
12.
So all right, Raj. That's the list: Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert, Hurts, Allen, and Jackson.
Yeah.
What do you strongly disagree with?
I don't put Lamar up there because of the injury history. I actually like Joe Shiesty, number 2 as well. He's a winner and a leader, and he just, when it comes down to it, he makes the throw. I put Hurts at 3, and between Josh Allen and Herbert, to me, it's who can win. And let's be real. I mean, they've both had good teams, and neither have been able to get to the next level. So it's a toss-up. Herbert hasn't even won a playoff game, so I guess I'll go Josh Allen, then Herbert.
Terry Sloan was asking, do we know if it's a calf or an Achilles? I haven't seen.
They say calf, but
they're saying
look
calf.
good.
Yeah.
They say
All
calf.
right, Brandon. What's your QB list?
Mahomes, Burrow, Hurts, Lamar, Allen, Herbert.
All right. I think I go. I think I obviously Mahomes. I go Allen second, then Hurts, then Burrow, even though he's a bum.
What's your favorite QB?
Wow.
Favorite fantasy QB.
And then I go Jackson, Herbert, and then after that it gets real tough.
I think for me, Allen, if Allen learns to eliminate some of the contact he takes, if he kind of learns how to maybe I don't need to go head up with the linebacker and saves his body, I think he'll be more consistently a top 2 or 3 quarterback. But he's too aggressive to a fault almost, because halfway through the season his body just starts shutting down on him, and it hurts his stats.
That's a great point. And Herbert's like Rodgers. He's a hell of a pocket passer, which equals longevity.
I was going to say, I bet you this year, Rodgers finishes top 5 quarterbacks for sure.
Well,
that's a reckless speculation there.
I'll say this
I bet he does.
For Mahomes to be locked in on his contract at his age, it may be the best contract in the history of sports. For what I mean, he's gonna be once Burrow gets signed, and he's gonna be the 6th or 7th highest paid player, and he's in a whole world of his own. Like
you don't think he renegotiates?
I don't
He's 8
think
right now. He'll be 9th after Burrow.
yeah.
Average annual value.
I'm not surprised Tim's making this comment.
Oh gosh. All right. So
that guy would agree with you.
So we all
You're
agree.
a big Garrett Wilson fan, I see.
We all agree Burrow's up next. He's gonna be the highest paid player in NFL history, right?
Yeah, it's a shoe.
For a few days.
All right. So we're talking about we're going from prosperity and money and riches to bankruptcy and despair and nothing left of what Bill Walton would call the conference of champions. What they are is the conference of wreckage now. My God, can they get on TV? Hell, we wouldn't even put on reckless speculation at this point. So look, there's rumors out there. Well, they're no longer rumors. Colorado is going to the Big 12.
Yep, that happened.
It's been approved. It has been approved since we wrote our agenda this morning. Yep. It's been approved. Rumors of Oregon and Washington to the Big 10, Big 12, looking at Arizona State, Utah. Stanford and Cal may be out there on their own nerding out about ACT scores. So I guess Big 10 guys, I'll go to you first. Tom, do you think Oregon and Washington come to the Big 10?
I think it's a guarantee. The
both of them, or Oregon? Oregon's automatic. I think.
Well, this kind of this picture that was released on, don't call it Twitter, call it X, the other day. I firmly believe this tells the story. Some think they just maybe signed a home agreement. The caption read, "Big things ahead." So this is my guess that at least Oregon's going. And now with Colorado officially gone to the Big 12, I think it's almost a guarantee that Washington's going to jump ship with him, because they know that the likelihood of getting anywhere that they want to go will probably not happen in the Pac-12.
And so, yeah, I agree with you. I think Oregon and Washington are a package deal. Brandon, I'll go to you. So what worries me as an SEC fan is the Big Ten they're not necessarily, like, I think the SEC's got a stronger foothold on college football, but the Big Ten is being more aggressive, and they are getting it. They're expecting, and we'll talk about Florida State in a second. The Big Ten is moving quickly.
They're moving quickly, and they're taking big market teams.
Yeah,
and that's the key. So they're drawing more attention. It's the Power Five's done for what it was. So now it's thank God the playoff expansion is going to happen. For the Big 12 and some of the smaller guys, but it's going to be SEC Big 10. That's it. Those are the two dominant. There's going to be, 3 or 4 teams from each conference in the playoffs every year, and it's whoever's left can try and beat them. So, no, they're making moves. They're making splashes. Like I said, big market teams, not necessarily quality. I think the SEC still got a little nudge up on that on some of the teams they're getting, but I'll still take it.
Well, I mean, if Oregon and Washington join, they like with a map, they essentially go the entirety,
corner to
yes,
corner.
Entire
yeah.
coast. Yeah.
And so it is SEC. They've cornered themselves in this market. While it's all. This may be a crazy kind of analogy. I'm just saying it's almost like Apple and Android. Like Apple is like got like SEC is like Apple in their corner, and Android's like we're going out everywhere, all around you, and we'll see who wins. And um, but
Yeah.
it's
The Big
something
Ten is
like
beating the SEC to the punch. They're
yes,
kind of setting the trend, and
right.
the SEC
More
is following
proactive.
suit.
Yeah, well,
More
I text today, like whenever they said Florida State's up for grabs, I was like, I think the Big Ten's going to get them before the SEC is going to be slow because they've got to deal with Florida and all these essentially just nonsense stuff where the Big Ten is moving. They're like, hey, no, we'll grab that too. We'll
And they
hop
already
it.
have the TV contract to back it up.
No,
Yeah.
we got a spelling component in our conference, and I think Florida State's more suited for the SEC. You guys don't just sign your name, and that's how you get into most schools, right?
So Raj, what the Pac-12 has been your conference. We've talked ad nauseum. Larry Scott just killed this one. I mean, he murdered the Pac-12. Just TV rights. Just I can't remember anything in sports that has failed like this from an advantageous standpoint to nothing.
Yeah, he was the devil. By the way, they'll always be the conference of champions because it includes a lot of warm weather sports like beach volleyball, every swimming event. So Stanford, USC, and UCLA are like 1, 2, and 3 in total championships. That's what he's referring to. Obviously not football. But anyways, yeah, for those who don't know, Larry Scott was the former, we called him Tennis Larry. He was the biggest idiot ever. That's why you can't get the Pac-12 network. I mean, I had to pay $50 a month for Sling TV just so I can get the network. Long story short, he had signed a 12-year deal at the time. And that was the dumbest shit ever. And it completely prevented them from renegotiating any new deals. I can go on and on about Larry Scott. Even ESPN offered to bail them out 3 years ago, taking them to tier 1 distribution rights. And Larry Scott said no. The first thing the new commissioner did was get out of the lease that Larry Scott had in a high rise in downtown San Francisco. That's like only New York City would be more expensive real estate. Like just a total waste of money. Put it in a fucking trailer in fucking Kansas. Nobody cares. But long story short, it allowed the Big Ten and Kevin Warren at the time to come in and be super proactive. And speaking on this, I always thought Kevin Warren wanted Oregon and Washington in at the time. The Big Ten presidents and whatnot weren't ready. I think they were intimidated. It was a lot. Logistically, USC and UCLA were going to have to fly millions of miles. What about teams flying out, playing the two? It just makes sense to add 2 more schools for a lot of different reasons. And to add the 4 corner institutions of the Pac-12, the entire West Coast is brilliant. And it is coast to coast, much like reckless speculation. And, these are intelligent schools and just there's going to be so much going for them and different markets. And the last thing I will say is that right now the Big Ten schools are projected to take in from the TV deal 7 years, $77 billion, about $62.5 million. When USC and UCLA join, 80 to 110 million, I think. Adding Oregon and Washington. Now you're not adding the LA markets, will probably be another 20 million. Right now, the Pac-12, Pac-10 or Pac-9 conference, when Colorado leaves, is estimated to make about 30 million per school.
Wow.
$100 million difference annually could be the case for schools joining the Big Ten versus the Pac-9.
And so
Oregon joining the Big Ten makes sense. Sorry to cut you off, Robbie.
No, go ahead.
But what is Oregon? Nike. And what is the pinnacle in gear in college sports? Nike. You bring that namesake into the conference.
So I'm saying big
more
hitter,
money. Yep.
big market,
tradition, picturesque. I mean, the last two schools the Big Ten added were Rutgers and Maryland. So in that sense, you're just opening an entirely new window.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would say this is the first time I can remember that not necessarily the SEC's worried, but they're on their toes thinking what's happening right now, and we've got to fit what kind of punches are we throwing? Because the Big Ten is the aggressor in this fight, and they're saying, hey, if they get Oregon and Washington, then it is almost Miami and Florida State are a have to, and North Carolina now is the biggest piece, I think, in this puzzle.
Yeah.
North Carolina, and then
or Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's not going.
They're never joining anything.
I just don't think. I don't think Notre Dame moves the TD market at all. Like
no, they're in their own little bubble, man. Like it's just
right.
It's weird. It's just like they're never gonna, and they'll be fine. They'll always be right there and pre-ranked, overrated, and
But I think for the SEC, Florida State, Miami, and North Carolina, and maybe North Carolina State, they're must. You got to get them because the Big Ten is surrounded. It's like Settlers of Catan, or like the Big Ten surrounding you.
I think the SEC they were like, we're top dog. Like they kind of took their time in this, and they're like vetting people, and they started to make waves, and people started talking and speculation and reckless speculation. And all of a sudden, Big Ten starts making moves, and now what you're saying is that SEC's like, okay, well, maybe we need to start pushing some of this through pretty quickly.
And now the Big Ten, they've been advertising for Big Ten Saturday night on Peacock. Those commercials have already been starting to go out, so they're really pushing it.
Do y'all think the Big Ten goes after Florida State?
It would make sense to get that part of the country.
It would.
Feel like
one of those Florida schools will end up in the Big Ten.
Well, if Florida State, Miami end up, then you have literally circled the SEC.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think the Big Ten.
Point.
I think the Big Ten does go after those schools. Now, the SEC, like Florida, doesn't want to because they don't want. Like that's the thing with the SEC schools is there's so much power in those presidents. Like, oh, you can't have Clemson because South Carolina's in there. You can't have Florida State because Florida. You can't have Miami. And then now it's like, well, these policies are now this kind of almost like Southern homegrown policies,
outdated.
Eating yourself up because you're losing everything.
Just take the top 50 schools that make the most money and fucking split them in half and have two conferences, the Big and the SEC, and that's it. Like
that's essentially what's going to happen. Yeah. And there's going to be the Big 12, and they're going to be happy that there's a 12-team or a 14-team playoff, whatever it's going to.
Yeah. All right. So. Yeah, we're not talking about San Diego State, Raj. That's stupid. All right, so
they said no to the Pac-12.
Yeah,
that's for you. That's for an invite for the Pac-12.
Yeah,
that says a lot.
Decades.
All right, so MLB trade deadline. Angels say they're holding on to Ohtani. All in. I like it. I don't know what else you're going to do. I like that stance. Anything else you guys are looking at for the trade deadline? I'm going to pass it off to Raj, and then Tom, Brandon are going to sit this one out. I'm going to make a quick drink. I'll be right back.
Tom, you want to go? You want to go first?
Sure. I'll go. I think it's good, and I sat here last week and I said Ohtani would not get moved. I really felt like Artie Moreno was really, really determined to try and make a deal and get him re-signed. Whether he does or not is to be determined. But I think this is an indication that he's telling Shohei, like, hey, I believe in you, believe in me. I believe in this team with Mike Trout coming back and what they just did to my Detroit Tigers. And just for a reference.
Just Shohei did that to you guys.
Shohei pitches game 1. He pitches his first complete game in his career. 1 hit. They win 6-0. Game 2, what does he do? Not 1, but 2 home runs. He's the greatest baseball player to ever live. You can't. I mean, I watched a video this week. People were like talking about, him and Babe Ruth. It is not even close. He's the greatest baseball player I have ever seen in my life. And
it's not even close.
Not even close.
He pitched for like 3 years or something.
Yeah. And he wasn't dominant. He wasn't dominant like Shohei is. But so I think that just made this trade deadline very lackluster. And I'll put some moves that were made. Your Dodgers bringing back Kike, and they go after Ahmed Rosario, give up Syndergaard. So that really doesn't tell you a whole lot how they felt about him. But I think this is what it is. This deadline is really going to be ho-hum, because the big prize has now been taken off the table. And you know what? I really like what the Angels did here. I think when it's all said and done, the Angels are going to be the winner of the trade deadline, just for the fact that they're keeping Ohtani, and they're going to go and make a push. They're only, 3 games out of a wild card. Still a long ways to go. And if they can get Trout back in the playoff push of September, which that's what they're looking at, they got Lucas Giolito last night, so I can see some more moves being made. But Raj, what is your feelings towards the trade deadline this year?
It's crazy that pretty shitty teams can get on like a 5-game winning streak and suddenly like they're buyers. And that's what happened with the Angels. Now, Angels fans hate Artie Moreno. His pride is their undoing. He wouldn't trade them to the Dodgers. The Dodgers should give them a farm system. Their farm system sucks. He wouldn't do it. The Angels go out and they pull Ohtani back, and that night they make a deal for who is, for all intents and purposes, and practically speaking, in terms of a guy who's going to be a rental, the number 1 pitching guy on the market in Giolito. He's going to be there. Now, he's from LA as well. But they gave up 2 of their top 3 prospects for Giolito, who's a hell of a pitcher. Yeah. But he's not even their number 1. Dylan Cease is. And it just seemed excessive, and it's going to limit what more they can do. And that's the story of Artie Moreno. He goes all in on these idiots. He buys high and sells low. Case in point, the Dodgers are very interested in Orange County's own Nolan Arenado. Also Matt Chapman, who that Blue Jays team is a hell of a team. Matt Chapman and Nolan Arenado, for those that don't know, check our Twitter, but they played on the same team at El Toro High School, and they have a combined 13 gold gloves. Yeah. Arenado's 2 years older. But back to the Angels, the only guy that makes more money at third is Rendon, who the Angels paid almost $40 million, $38 million for right after an MVP season. He's played in like 40 games. That's what they do. Their salary's all locked up. The odds of them signing Shohei are low. But, moving on, the White Sox are a team to definitely look at. They have at least 2 more starters, 3 relievers, 5 or so position players. They can set themselves up a la the Royals for a big run, and the Cardinals. The Cardinals have some huge names. Obviously, Arenado he's under contract until 2026, but the reports are today the Dodgers are hard after him. I'd be ecstatic. Obviously, probably more so need Jordan Montgomery or Jack Flaherty. They're 2 starting pitchers, 3 relievers. Another guy, Dylan Carlson's a 24-year-old center fielder who reportedly is available, who's at his peak, is amazing. And along the same lines, now after Ohtani's gone, the crown jewel, who at his peak was an MVP in 2019, is Cody Bellinger. And
he's playing good baseball the last month.
He's hitting .312 with 15 home runs and 46 RBIs, I believe. He, as a Dodger fan, we knew we couldn't afford him, but in 2019, he was the MVP, hitting .305 with 47 home runs and an OPS off the charts. The year after, he hit .165. His OPS was in the 500s. This year, his OPS is .905 or something. So
wow,
he's doing everything, and he is by far the number one target. It screams Yankees at this point. The Cubs could win a bunch in a row in a very winnable division.
Yeah.
And keep winning.
And the Yankees are in last place in the East right now. So
yeah, and those two teams, though, the White Sox and Cardinals and Bellinger, I think is where you need to focus on. What do you think about my All-Star representative, Michael Lorenzen? He's also a SoCal kid. He's looked really good since the All-Star break. As the representative, I think he's 2-0 since the break. His name I've heard quite a bit. I've heard Erod, although he's really looked up and down the last couple starts. But I look at 2 or 3 Tigers that probably won't be. Kerry Carpenter, I've heard his name. A lot of teams looking after him. Big left-handed hitter, play right field. So I think this team in Detroit will be a little bit different. But Terry Sloan chiming in, with he's already all in on the Thor. I think that's an indication that they're going all in for the division in a very winnable Central Division. So, dude, I was ecstatic to get rid of Syndergaard. He's done. He has got nothing left in movement. He got hurt in his blister. His signature pitches aren't anything. We needed help at shortstop. We got a guy that in Rosario who's not as good of a fielder as the starter Miguel Rojas, but
he can hit.
A guy with exceptional speed. He's played outfield. He's been DH, which to us, just quickly, means that Will Smith doesn't have to DH to spell JD Martinez. So Austin Barnes, who's the devil, doesn't have to play. We're going after versatility, which is what we do. Cleveland, they'll just a long history of selling guys high, but at the same token, you have to wonder how many times they've been in this position, even a better position, and sold. So it would be odd for me to go for it. I don't see them as going for it in Syndergaard. They're dumping his salary. He's on a 1-year, $13 million deal. He's off the books. They're not going for it at all.
All right. So let's move on to one of the most fascinating stories of the week, which is the clown show car of the NCAA keeps marching on with this ridiculous authority they think they have. So for those who don't know, in a nutshell, Tom lives this. I think I'm going to say it right. If I misspeak, Tom will correct me. 2019, maybe it was the COVID-19 protocol. So in 2020, there was a recruiting shutdown, and Jim Harbaugh took some recruits or players out, paid for 2 burgers, and then the NCAA came in and said that's impermissible. He lied to them. They asked him again. They lied to him again. Blah blah blah. Is that semi-accurate, Tom?
Yeah, cheeseburgers.
All
this over 2 cheeseburgers.
Yeah. So now the NCAA is prepared to levy a 4-game suspension for lying over cheeseburgers. So my question to you, Tom, as a Michigan person, what is stupider, the NCAA or lying to the NCAA?
How about using the word stupider? It's not a word. Dumbass.
I mean, you can say dumber if you want to, but
More stupid, you dingus.
Yeah,
Well-
you can say dumb
well-
or
Well,
In the
Rod,
South,
remember,
it's stupider.
we are in SEC country now. That's what we're
no,
talking
Yeah,
about. So.
And he's my attorney. Great.
yeah. Obviously, you don't get irony when you're talking about what's stupider. You want to use the improper language of
Yes,
stupid.
That was your intention. Irony. Well done.
Yeah.
sir.
Oh yeah. You dumb or dumber or stupid more stupid. Yeah.
Are you
I'm a
talking to us from the
dictionary.
bathroom right now? Like, what's the echo going on? He's gone.
I'll say this. If anyone has watched this show previously, they'll know my stance on Jim Harbaugh. I'm not a fan. I never have been a fan. I think he's an egotistical maniac. But that being said, he's the coach of the football team that I root for. So there's that. I think this is definitely a black mark on the NCAA, especially looking at how the punishment they handed Tennessee a couple of weeks ago, just vacating wins from a season that was lousy to begin with from a lousy coach. But that with on the flip side,
Didn't know this was happening. Didn't know.
Why lie? Why lie? Is it a situation where he knew he was in violation? He should have been clean. I feel like the NCAA gave him another opportunity to tell the truth. He did not. So I think this is a situation where they both look bad here. The NCAA looks bad because they're being petty as F. And Harbaugh looks bad in the sense that, dude, you just bought a couple cheeseburgers. And I know Tim says it's more than just cheeseburgers, but he's a Buckeye fan, so he's going down that rabbit hole of Buckeye Twitter.
Easy on my boy Tim. Easy on my boy Tim.
If anybody was paying attention to Buckeye Twitter, they were saying that what Harbaugh did was worse than what Tressel did, which is a joke. But anyways, I think they're both to blame. I mean, he's not innocent in this at all for lying, but if it was just cheeseburgers, he says, yeah, I bought a couple kids or a couple of youngsters cheeseburgers. What's the big deal?
Well, Tom, I want to let me know this. 'Cause this is what I'm curious about. Is this more Michigan accepting this punishment than Harbaugh? Because, hey, you can love Michigan, you can hate Michigan. It is still one of the top public universities in the country.
Yeah.
So is this more of a student conduct, professor conduct kind of thing, or is this just Harbaugh on his own? Is this NCAA saying this is what you're going to do? What's the word on campus?
I think this is the university getting ahead of it, kind of taking responsibility or accountability before it gets really blown out of proportion. And as you see, they're negotiating the first 4 games of the season, which you could bring myself or my good buddy Rich Jasper out of the stands of the big house and put us on the sidelines, and they'd win those games. So it's stupid.
All right, before we go to Brandon, let's show the video.
The number of times I've asked you questions about Jim Harbaugh, I can't even count them anymore. What do you think of this one?
Let's start with the NCAA. It's beyond a clown show, Greeny. It is a clown show, and the fact that they would sanction him for this is really beyond the pale. I mean, essentially, he's accused of buying somebody a hamburger and then not telling the truth about it. I mean, Greeny, don't eject me out of my seat here, but I'm starting to respect Jim Harbaugh for standing firm and refusing to go down the NCAA's path. This could have been over with a long time ago, but Harbaugh would not admit he lied. And because the NCAA is so backwards and so antediluvian, they ended up with this agreement. In the end, the NCAA has no jurisdiction over anyone or anybody, and they can't push things too far because the schools will take them to court, and the NCAA maybe will lose. But in the end, I think Jim Harbaugh looks really good here, and this might be my final broadcast ever on this earth.
Brandon, you're obviously a no Jim Harbaugh fan. Why is this even a thing? And you went through the Jim Tressel era. I went through the Bruce Pearl era, which I'll talk to after this thing about the NCAA and their injustice. But what do you think about how this compares? Obviously, the NCAA has way less power than they had with Jim Tressel, way less power than they had with Bruce Pearl. But where does this kind of stand overall in your mind?
This is so stupid. This is like the tug at the last strings here for the NCAA. And I think, they're gonna comply and pacify the NCAA. It's just ridiculous. Cheeseburger. I mean, come on. We've got NIL going on right now, and you can't buy kids cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
Like, this is so stupid. Like, I don't even know why it's a discussion. We're giving this more momentum by talking about it because it's so stupid. I don't get the NCAA right now. I don't even know why they're still here.
And to mention
outside of basketball, they should not even be in football.
Well, Tom, I want to ask you, because like you listen to more Detroit radio, has it been brought out that it was just a cost analysis? Because like if I'm the University of Michigan, I'm saying we will sue the NCAA and we'll win, but it's going to cost us probably $5 to $10 million in legal fees versus just sit it out right now, and then maybe $20 million. I don't know what legal fees are on billable hours now, but
that's expensive. You're a lawyer.
Well,
I don't have to go to court.
There really hasn't been any breaking news, folks. We get another brilliant comment by a Buckeye here. Michigan's elite. Man, he's a closet Michigan fan. A couple of weeks ago on our show, he predicted the University of Michigan to win the Big Ten. But anyways, there hasn't been any talk about what Michigan's going to do. I think it's really been
their first four
negatively. Yeah, like it's no big deal.
Anyway,
and not to mention Sharon Moore and then a defensive coach as well suspended one game. But I mean, let's not forget here. These kids had already committed to Michigan. It was not recruiting time, and they just were in Ann Arbor just to visit the school. It was, you can look at it in so many ways.
Yeah. So I just want to remind everyone, if they don't know, Bruce Pearl, who I'm not a Bruce Pearl forgiver. Like I'm a Rick Barnes guy. But Bruce Pearl,
you're a Bruce Pearl fan at one time.
I like Bruce Pearl. I do like Bruce Pearl. I like him.
Aaron Kraft ruined your day.
Yeah. Bruce Pearl had a barbecue at his house. The NCAA came and asked about it. He lied. He got a 3-year show cause. 3 years he can't coach again. The same thing Jim Harbaugh just did.
Do you think that punishment came from his sketchy past? He's kind of known to be a little bit.
100%. And
you know who's a stand-up model citizen is Aaron Kraft. He did not lie. He said, "Yes, I did have a barbecue."
And Tennessee is
red cheeks, even though rosacea face.
Even though we are a partner with ESPN. Apparently, everyone hates Tennessee, and so we get the shit in the stick. But nonetheless, we're almost at an hour, boys. Let's talk about how to make people money. You like money, don't you, Tom?
Yes, I do.
It's time for Bet Your Nuts.
Writing this stuff down so I can remember it. All right. Bet your nuts, kids. We give you the picks to let you get rich. I've been on a cold streak, so I'm going to go first because I think I'm going to break this going last streak.
Kyle Larson.
Yeah, so it's got to be a NASCAR reference.
Yeah.
Blaney or Larson? It's Blaney or Larson.
No. So I got Christopher Bell, number
Titans
20.
win the AFC South.
Number 20, I feel like he's ready. 7-1. Christopher Bell, number 20. He's good at this track. At this point, I don't even know. Just pick a number and just roll the wheel around. We're playing roulette, kids. Brandon, what do you got?
Put it all on 20. I'm going to go back to the 3M Open here. I'm sticking with golf because I don't know much else going on right now.
Because that's what everyone's watching.
Yeah, no one's watching the 3M Open, but that's okay. If you want to make some money, though, Tony Finau is going to finish in the top 5. He's plus 200 right now. And I think he's like 7th or 8th or something right now. I like Tony Finau to finish in the top 5. Justin Thomas, man, I really want to bet on this kid. He's struggling right now. So I almost wanted to bet on him to miss the cut, but he's at -2, so he'll probably make it. He's not doing any big waves this week.
All right, Raj, welcome back. What do you want to bet on? Be on time?
Oh, we could bet on that next week.
Yeah. Hey, that's the biggest free money of all time.
Yeah, no shit, dude. I am gonna take. This is a pretty close line right now. Is Texas at? And I'm gonna jinx myself because I've been on fire with baseball lately. Only on Fridays, but one reason why is each time I've talked about the Cubs' Justin Steele, and he's pitched the last like 2 or 3 Fridays. But my go-to is Moneyline San Diego, even though I hate them against Texas, because Joe Musgrove is unconscious. And Joe Musgrove starting the over-under is 8. I don't want to touch that. But Dane Dunning, the Dodgers lit him up. He's got a nice record, nice ERA, but he doesn't have the stuff. So take Musgrove in the money line. The Cubs are playing the Cardinals, and it's undecided. Damn it. So usually I bet on Justin Steele, but I'll go with big ears, Joe Musgrove. Just take the money line, though.
It's a lot of that's a nice 1,000 words to say, too. Got it. Tom, what do you got?
Provide information. I don't want to be stupider than others.
Stupid is not a word, dum-dum.
Oh.
Well, Terry Sloan corrected Robbie there. That's most stupid.
Or more stupid.
And that's coming from a Buckeye. So hey,
or the stupidest.
Yeah, no. At some point, guys, you have to let people know: are you still listening or not? So
I was being ironic.
At the end of the show, you got to throw a most stupid in there, like or stupid or someone's still watching. Thanks, Terry.
By the way, I was being ironical. Movie, anyone? Good Will Hunting, Robin Williams. Rest in peace.
All right, Tom.
I'll go here. And did anybody take advantage of your guarantee a couple weeks ago, Brandon?
I hope not.
Or I mean, Robbie. My bad, Robbie. The hustle.
Did I give a guarantee?
Yeah,
I don't think I did.
Robbie did. I had that wrong. So,
Robbie gives guarantees every day.
Yeah. So I'm gonna.
I forget him as the week goes along.
I'm sure. I am gonna stay in my hometown as a first-time season ticket holder of the Detroit Lions. I'm agreeing with Tim here. They're going to win the North. DraftKings has them at plus 140. Put all the money you can down on the lovable Leos, the Pontiac Pussycats, the Detroit Lions.
Do we have an 80% refund guarantee?
Tim, are you going to put a guarantee?
100% refund.
100% refund. He'll put it on there. I guarantee you he will.
I'm breaking out my checkbook. Get ready.
But yes, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm all over the Honolulu blue and silver Kool-Aid. I'm on eating all the cornbread. I believe in this team. I think the division is theirs to lose. I don't think Jordan Love's ready, and I think Minnesota has done a disservice to themselves by giving up Dalvin Cook and some pieces on defense. So I think the Lions, it's ripe for the taking.
All right, boys. Final thoughts. Tom, pretty much guarantee if you bet on the Lions that they'll give you money back. I'm taking them up on that. Final thoughts. We are about a month and a half from NFL football, so it's getting real. Tom, final thoughts besides retracting your bet of your 100% guarantee?
I am not retracting my bet. This is a bold statement. Beating the Chiefs twice this year. That would mean in the Super Bowl. Whew, that's lofty.
Hey, what's Tim drinking? Tim, what are you drinking?
He's a Buckeye fan too.
Must be.
Yeah.
Tim, hey,
That's the problem.
Tim is on thirsty Thursdays. I like him.
Tim should be in bed. He has to get up for work in the morning. But,
no, Tim, go to work drunk. Keep the party going.
My 9-year-old's in the room right now, by the way.
Okay. My final word, I'll say, is masterpiece. And that's what I witnessed on Monday night with the movie Oppenheimer. The better half and myself went to see it. The best movie I've seen in probably the last 5 years.
Wow.
Just absolute brilliant. Christopher Nolan is a master of telling stories through his cinematography, through the music, through the sounds. I mean, when you break it all down, this movie is about the atom bomb, and it's about the people involved in making it. On face value, very boring. He makes this movie feel like it's the Dark Knight. It has a very Dark Knight feel. And if
is Oak Ridge, Tennessee focused on? Is there any?
They mentioned Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Yep, they mentioned Oak Ridge, Tennessee. The casting for this movie was spot on. And if it doesn't win every single award possible, then the Motion Picture Association is defunct, because this movie was amazing.
Clearly, you haven't seen Barbie.
And I'm not going to see Barbie. The better half saw Barbie and was hit or miss on it. But no, Oppenheimer, do yourself a favor. Find the biggest screen you can if you can find it in IMAX. If not, find it in like some of the other theaters have like these like epic big screens. Watch it. Go see it.
Robbie, 10:55 a.m. in IMAX. I've been trying to see it the last 2 days, but this stupid thing called work has gotten in the way. Because Tom told me that. I was like, I want to go, dude.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I actually have work to do during the days. Yeah, I can't see that.
Right.
All right, Raj, final thoughts?
2 warnings. Number one, my 9-year-old and I, who usually is asleep, he's right here. We were looking for the Dodger game just now for like 30 minutes. And they're not playing tonight. So we were in Apple and streaming and cursing platforms and the Pac-12 network. And just, number one, make sure you know that your teams are playing. Number two is a bit more serious. When it comes to Bronny and other kids, have a plan of action, an emergency action plan, whatever that may be. And really step one is just paying attention. And that's not obviously as set in stone, if you will, as having an action plan, but any irregularities in your kids, if they say, back in the day, unless they were bleeding or something was falling off, no big deal. But, lightheadedness, my kid gets stuff in his mind, so I don't like him hearing this, but irregular heartbeat, fast breathing, slow breathing, anything, it's worth just at least taking him aside and assessing the situation, because both of those 2 kids at USC, if they were not at USC surrounded by 3, and then after Vince, I think they had 6 or 7 medical professionals and trainers, they'd be dead at 19 years old.
Yeah. Well said. Brandon?
Little stir up in the NFL with Joe Burrow getting carted off today. I hope it's not as serious as what we've heard or what the speculation is. Thoughts and prayers with him on a quick recovery. Hopefully he can still start day one, but from what I've heard and the speculation, it doesn't sound good. So, man, that's going to suck if he's not quarterbacking for the Bengals. So,
Yeah.
Oh, it's at the best, it's a month. That looked worse. It didn't look moderate. It looked severe. And I would fully expect,
Yeah, it doesn't look good, man. It just sucks for football and him. And he's about to get this big contract, and
sucks. And it sucks for people that are coming up to draft more than 2 weeks before the start of the regular season.
Well, so here are my final words. We'll end the show on this. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the end of July, or end of a July show. Each of you have been great, and we have made this summer entertaining, and I can't express to you how good the next 4 months are going to be. Football season, it is going to be fantastic. Stick with us, follow us. I promise it's going to be great entertainment, and there's bickering, there's gambling, there is fantasy football implications. There's everything that is coming for you. So if you stuck with us through this summer, the summer is tough for every show. I think we made entertainment, but I promise you it's to the moon after this. We have about a month left, and it's going to be great.
Dude, I'd argue the summer was our highlight because we're four that are fairly smart individuals, and we have different opinions from different parts of the country. And there was a lot going on this year, man. A lot of stuff this summer.
Yeah, we've had worse summers for sure.
Yeah, dude, we had a lot to talk about for sure.
Talks about football, but we bring a different stance, dude, and I'm proud of that.
Yep.
All right, well, we're signing off. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like. If you want to send us messages, Tom does all that. And then after that, we will be back next Thursday. And then we have football coming around the corner, NFL preview, college football preview. And, of course, we're going to get you rich. Thank you. Signing off, everyone.
We got football next week, too, with the Hall of Fame game. So watch out.
Whoa. Is that on Thursday?
That's next week, yes.
Okay, we'll edit the show. Maybe Wednesday night next week, or watching the game live. Who knows?
We are not changing the show for the freaking Hall of Fame.
Oh no, you bite your tongue. I'll go solo watching the Hall of Fame game. I love it.
I have to check my travel schedule.
Put that shit. Tim's right. I think it's Friday.
Is it Friday or
dude?
I'll watch the Hall of Fame game by myself, and I'll just broadcast it if I have to. Rod, you're a loser.
He'll be at Mike's. You can find him in the corner at Mike's.
Oh, it's Thursday at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
I like Tim, and I know what he says, but
it's my dad's. It's the Jets and Brownies, so will Negan play on next week? We'll see.
Hey, Terry, how did you raise your son to like the only team that's worse than the team you like? That's a legitimate question. I don't understand.
We should sign off now. Yeah, we're out of here.
No. I was asking Terry about Tom. Is Terry like the Brown? Tom's like the Lions.
Dad's an Ohio guy, so
our host has derailed.
I like your dad. I don't know how you're.
Thanks for watching.
So far from the tree.
What's wrong?
Thanks for listening to another episode of Reckless Speculation. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube searching Reckless Speculation. Catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We look forward to catching you right here next week with another exciting episode of Reckless Speculation.